Hello and welcome to this Inspired Life. My name is Andy Taylor and it's mini-series time because today I want to cover the first phase of creating life by design, which is being able to drill right down and establish empowering, motivating, and frankly desirable outcomes that you want to create in your life, that you want your life to be about pursuing. Because as we talked about in a previous video, it's the journey that's important. It's not the outcome. It's not the goal, if you want to use those terms. You do need to know what they are because they set your destination. But I'll go into more of that when we get there in just a second. But as always on the channel, this is a passion project for me, so I really do appreciate your support. So hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up if you like the video, and leave a comment suggesting any other topics that you'd like me to discuss. So what do I talk about? What am I talking about when I say desired outcomes? Well, basically, as I discussed again in a previous video, I had a real issue with goals and goal setting. Not because there's anything inherently wrong with them, but because they just didn't work for me. To me, the language, the linguistics of goals was that a goal was something that was out there somewhere in the future. Excuse me, my allergies are playing up, I do apologize. Excuse me. But yeah, a goal was something that was out there way up in the future, and it didn't ever feel like it was something I was immediately involved in, right? So I really struggled with that, and I followed all of the goal setting wisdom of the day, the Tony Robbins, Paul McKenna, Richard Bando, that kind of thing, and it really didn't get me anywhere. So I was kind of frustrated by that. So I thought about, okay, what else? How else can I see it? And without knowing it at the time, that was me stumbling upon what I believe is one of the most powerful weapons or tools that you have in your arsenal, which is the power to question, right? So if something's not working for you, so if you hear a piece of advice or you hear a technique on this channel or any other channel, I can only speak for me. It is not meant as a hard and fast, you must do this. Because I know from experience that not everything works for everybody. So what I invite you to do with everything that I share, not just anything, everything that I share, is to take it away and play with it. And if it works for you as is, great. If not, play with it, mold it, pull it apart, put it back together again the way that you choose. And in a way that works for you. Because that's all that personal development is, essentially, is taking things that work for you and using them to be better, to do better, to have more, to create more, to be happier, etc. So to today's video, we're talking about setting your outcomes. Now, as I mentioned just now, it is important to have an outcome in your mind. So you need to have an outcome that you want to achieve, right? But at the same time, have it there, but don't fixate on it. Again, the problem that I see over and over again with goal setting is, and people that pursue goal setting to the letter, is that they have the goal, they set their goal, and then they fixate on it. They think about the goal every day. They wake up and they think about the goal. That's not a very productive way to do anything, right? Because above all else, what it does is it highlights and it shines a spotlight on your progress, or some days lack of, right? And that if you're going through a bit of a slump, if you're going through a bit of a productivity slump or a hiccup or a road bump, whatever you want to use to describe it, if you're having a bad day, you're not going to make any progress. So you view your goal the following morning, it's a case of, I'm exactly where I was yesterday. Oh, that sucks. So the purpose of this, my way of doing things, is that you drill down and you establish what you really want, how you really want your life to be. And that is the crucial understanding in this, is the fact that it's not a case of stuff. You're not thinking about stuff. You are describing experiences. You're describing your experience of being alive, right? So what experiences do you want? What outcome do you want experientially? Okay, so do you want to wake up every morning in the big fancy house? Or do you want to wake up in the morning and be comfortable, right? And to know that you're comfortable, to open the drapes or the curtains and look out on the ocean and know that I can go down there anytime I want. I can have a swim, right? Or do you want to wake up and go down to the garage and just stare at your collection of Ferraris, right? Stuff is okay. And if some people are motivated by stuff, and that's fine. If it works for you, it works for you. But what I'm saying is, with regards to outcomes in the process of life by design, we're talking about experiential. Okay, so we're talking about the experiences, how you, not what you want in your life, but how you want your life to feel. Okay, so, and we're talking about a couple of key areas. There are more to this, but I'm just going to cover the basics in this video. So we're talking about health and fitness. Okay, we're talking about health and fitness, we're talking about your intellect and your emotional well-being. Okay, so those two kind of go together. I put them together for a very simple reason, is because they work together really well. So you've got your intellect, which is, what do you want to learn today? And then you've got your emotional intelligence, which is, okay, how do I want to be around people? How do I want to be with other people? How do I want to learn from other people? How do I want to learn about other people? Okay, how do I want to put myself across from an emotional point of view so that other people can learn and be inspired by me? Okay, that to me, it's not the definition of emotional intelligence, but for me, it's a really damn good way to look at it. So you've got your health and well-being, you've got your intellect and emotional intelligence. You've got your life vision. Okay, so you've got your global life vision. So how do you want your whole life to be? Okay, how do you want to feel about your entire life as a package deal? You've got love relationships. So love and relationships, you could see that as, so you could be talking about family relationships, friends, and then obviously your significant intimate partner. And then you've got the obvious one, which a lot of people are going to be focused on, is financial. And so I've kind of lumped career and work into that too, because career and work generally is where the finances come from, right? So if you can focus on those key areas, then what we're going to be doing is drilling down into each and every single one. And we're going to use something we discovered at the beginning that's ultimately powerful, your ultimate secret weapon in your arsenal, which is the power to question. Okay, so if we take our health and well-being first. So health and well-being, health and fitness first. And you start to think about, give yourself a timeline. So give yourself 12 months, 2.5 years, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it might be. So let's say 3 years to hit the middle ground. So give yourself 3 years. How do you want your body to look in 3 years? How do you want to feel in your own body in 3 years? Okay. In 3 years' time, you want to look at yourself, you walk past the mirror. How do you want to feel as you see yourself in the mirror? How do you want to feel as you get up in the morning? Do you want to feel lethargic? Do you want to feel bloated, lethargic, listless? Or do you want to feel vibrant and full of energy? Now, I am no oil painting. I have no six-pack. I have a party 7, but no six-pack. So what I'm saying is that other people's model of what is fit and healthy is not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is your model of what is fit and healthy. Okay, so what is fit to you? Right? So what is fit to you? What is healthy to you? Right? So how do you want to feel in your own body in 3 years' time? So how much energy do you want to wake up every day with? How great a night's sleep do you want to be having in 3 years' time? Right? That sounds really weird, but that's a really big thing, especially for someone like me right now. Because I suffer from summer allergies, and we're having a belter this year for some reason, and my asthma is playing up, and obviously with COVID and everything else, I'm really struggling with breathing sometimes. Not because I'm particularly unfit, but because of my asthma and the fact that I live in the beautiful English countryside, which is surrounded by grass. Okay, so everyone's cutting it, it's all up in the air, and it's making me suffer. Anyway, so how do you want to feel? What kind of night's sleep do you want to be having? Do you want to be sleeping the full 8 hours? Do you want to be sleeping 6 hours, 5 hours? What is brilliant for you? What is wonderful for you? What would be a fantastic night's sleep for you? Okay, so how do you want to feel in your body? How do you want to feel when you wake up every morning? How vibrant and full of energy do you want to feel? And how do you want to sleep? Okay, so what do you want to be able to do? How do you want to maintain it? So what do you want to be able to do in order to maintain that feeling? In order to maintain that sense of awe at yourself, right? So how do you want to maintain it? Do you want to row? Do you want to run? Do you want to cycle? Do you want to hit the gym 3 times a week? Whatever's right for you is right for you. I'm not here to say you must do this, this, and this. I'm not like that. It doesn't work that way, regardless of what a lot of people will try and sell you. How do you want to maintain that? So you know you can drill right down and you can ask those questions. How do you want to feel in yourself, in your body? How do you want to wake up in the morning full of energy? And how do you want to sleep at night? 3 basic areas. You can cover so much more if you wish to, but those are the 3 that I would start with. Okay, how much energy do you want to wake up with in the morning? How much joy do you want to have in your own body as you approach each day, right? And how much sleep do you want to have so that you're not exhausted and tired still? So those are the 3 main areas that I would focus on, as I said. So as I said, they're not exclusive. So if you can think of other things that work better for you, then by all means use them. The second thing is your intellect and emotional intelligence. Now, when I first started using this, and I first said to the first person I worked with this, thought I was crazy by saying putting these 2 together, because he said they're completely different. So, well, actually, no, they're not, because your intellect is how you use your intelligence, okay? Your mental intelligence, your psychological intelligence. That's your intellect. So it's what the information you take in and how you process it. That's intellect, essentially. So your emotional intelligence is just how you do it, but through your sensory system rather than just your brain. So your emotional intelligence is how you feel about an interaction with somebody, rather than your intellect, which is how you respond to them on an intellectual level based on what they're saying. So with the purpose of nailing down and drilling down and identifying what your wonderful outcome that you want for your emotional intelligence and your intellect, what I would ask is along the lines of, how much do I want? What do I want to learn? What do I want to be learning on a daily basis? What aspects of myself do I want to be developing on a daily basis? Okay, so it can be new languages, it can be new business skills, it can be new interpersonal skills, it can be a sport, right? It could be a hobby. Whatever it might be is right for you, okay? So again, not me telling you must do this. It's what is right for you. Now, emotional intelligence is a little bit of a different fish in that what we're talking about here is, how do you want to feel when you interact with other people? What are the first senses that you want to be tapping into when you are interacting with someone else or an event or a situation? Okay. How do you want to bring your emotional intelligence to bear on a problem that you might have? Okay, so how do you want to be tapping into the immense power of your emotional intelligence to solve an issue, whether it's a personal problem or a much wider social problem or a global problem, right? As I speak to you, we are in the middle of the COVID-19 epidemic, and there are protests going on around the world at the death of George Floyd. There are questions over racism approach, in every single country on the planet pretty much these days. So there are some pretty big global issues being brought to light. So using that as kind of a benchmark, really, just for an example's sake, in 3 years' time, how do you want to be bringing your emotional intelligence to bear on helping either yourself, your immediate circle of friends or family, your community, society generally in the country you live in, or even the world? How do you want to be bringing your emotional intelligence to bear on helping to do something about that? Right? Because your emotional intelligence has equal value to anyone else's, regardless of education, regardless of background. We all feel differently. Okay, that's the uniqueness of the human condition, is that not only are we unique physically, we are unique emotionally too. So how do you want to be bringing your emotional intelligence to bear on either personal, local, community, social, or global concerns or difficulties or problems? Okay, so that's your intellect. And intellect is really quite a simple one, isn't it? It's what do you want to learn? How do you want to be continually educating yourself day to day in 3 years' time? Then we get on to love and relationships. So I'm going to talk outwards and I'm going to bring it back in. Okay, so we're going to be talking with the wider world at the moment. So how do you want to be fostering and nurturing relationships with the world at large? So your wider community, whether that is a wider community of friends, whether that is a network or a community that you're a part of on the internet, on Facebook or social media of any description, right? How do you want to be being present? How do you want to foster relationships? How do you want to make and create relationships that last on those platforms or in those groups? And what do you want to be able to do on a daily basis to foster and nurture those? Then we bring it back to family. Okay, we bring it back into, I would say, really close friends and family are kind of one and the same thing, because they each have, that family is blood related, whereas friends are chosen family, essentially, right? That's the old adage, isn't it? So what I would say here and what I would ask here is, and what I've asked myself here is, how do I want to be present for everyone in my social circle? So all of my friends and all of my family. How is it I want to be present for them? Okay. How can I and how will I be bringing my whole self, my full concentration, focus and presence to them when I am with them? And it's a really good question, because so often, and again, it was touched on briefly in a previous video, that we can be with someone, but then we can be not present at all because we're distracted by something that happened on the road to the meeting. Oh yeah. Or we can be thinking about what we're having for dinner, or what our wife is doing, what our husband is doing, what the kids are doing, how are the kids getting on at school. I wonder if Aunt Mabel's had her operation yet. We're distracted by a whole host of things, and it takes away our presence from where we are and who we're with. So how do you want to be combating that, for want of a better description? So the tendency to do that, to be pulled away and distracted, how is it you want to be dealing with that and preventing that from happening with your friends and family? Okay, and how do you want to be showing up for them? We talked about showing up in a previous video. It's a really great video. Go and check it out. Because it's one of the crucial ingredients, is the fact that how you show up dictates the nature of that relationship, right? Whether it lasts a lifetime or 20 minutes. Depends on how you show up and how the other person shows up. The only part of that equation you can control is yours. Okay, so how do you want to be showing up for your family, for your close friends, right? And then we come down and we centralize it onto how do you want to be showing up for your intimate relationships, so your spouse. And this is a crucial one because my fiance and I talk about this quite a lot because it's a central theme for us, because it's so important that both of you have to be present. It's so noticeable when one is not. And we always laugh and joke about it. If something's going on with either one of us, we know. And it's almost as if there's like a clairvoyance involved, because something's going on in my life. I'll get a message from her and I've not spoken to her about it. So I'll get a message from her at the right time, and vice versa. You know, she's going through some difficulties and I'll message her, "Hi, how you doing?" And we laugh and we joke about it, but it's key to personal, intimate relationships is that we have each other's full attention, that we are fully present with one another. So, how is it that you want to be showing up for your spouse, for your significant other? How do you want to be showing up emotionally for them? How do you want to be showing up in a support role for them? How do you want to be showing up in the sense of leading the relationship when they're having a bad day? How do you want to be showing up in the sense physically? So when you get really physically intimate, right? So how do you want to be showing up sexually with them? And these are all important topics to cover. And when you think about each one of those individually and you put them together, what you can come out with is a beautiful description of how you want your perfect intimate relationship to be. Okay? And when you can do that, and you can find someone, if you haven't already, who can do that for you too, then magic happens. I'm very fortunate in as much as I have the most amazing woman in the world as my fiance. And I'm grateful for that fact every single second of every single day. So we've covered health and fitness. We've covered intelligence and emotional intelligence and intellect, And we've covered relationships and love. So the last couple that I want to talk about, I'll leave the big one until the end. So the last one, the next one I want to talk about is your global vision. So your vision for life. Now, this is not something, despite the description, it starts with you. But your life can have an impact on more people than you can possibly imagine. Because just by being you, you are unknowingly inspiring other people to be themselves. You are unknowingly leading the way with a bunch of people who are looking for help, guidance, an example, or a terminology which some people don't necessarily like the sound of, but it works so well because it's so accurate, really. You are giving other people permission to be themselves, okay? You are showing people that it's okay. You don't have all your shit together, that's fine. Neither did I, but this is what I did about it. Neither do I, but this is what I'm doing about it. However it works is how it works. So your vision for your life vision, is so intrinsically important, not just for you, but for the world, for other people, for your network of friends, for your community, for your wider community through the internet, customers, suppliers, contractors, depending on what you do. And it's a critical component. And one of the most critical components of it, and this is something I'm going to get to in a moment, is your mental construct of how the world is, of what reality is for you. I did an entire video on this just a few days ago. I think it was last week. So go check that one out. It's all about the matrix and the fact that we're creating our own reality, or we can create our own reality. So think about it in those terms. So how do you want your life to be? Okay. Mahatma Gandhi had arguably the very best question with regards to this. So I'm going to blatantly steal Mahatma Gandhi's question on this. And he said, if your life was your message, what would your message be? So I'm going to take that a little bit further, and I'm going to say, if your life was your message, what would you love your message to be? So if your message is not where it should be right now, and whose is, basically, mine isn't quite, it's getting there, but it's not quite. Because it changes all the time, right? The world shifts, societies change, things happen. So my outcomes that I did this morning, I sat down and redid mine this morning, I review them every couple of months. And I was thinking about that question this morning. If my life was my message, what would I love my message to be? And I came up with such a really profound statement that summed it up for me. My life was my message. I would want that message to be that be open-minded. We're all different. We're all doing the best we can with what we have. So be open-minded, be understanding, be loving, be caring, and be helpful. And that for me is just that. When I applied that, and I just thought about that answer in relation to my life vision, yeah, I'm very much a service-based person. I love helping people, and it's what I want my life to be about. It pretty much is now, but I just want to push it further and further. And I shared with my fiance when I told her I was going to do this today, that one of the big outcomes that I want to achieve when it comes to my work, but also my life vision, is I want to speak for Mind Valley. I want to speak on stage at Mind Valley, because I love the work that Vision and Mind Valley do. All the speakers they get together, all the help and advice, and the Mind Valley masterclasses, if you haven't signed up for any, are awesome. They are fantastic and well worth the effort. And I just love the work they do. So for me, a beautiful outcome for me, both personally as a man who has found a community of people that really resonate with everything I stand for. And as a coach and a service person, as a person that wants to just add value to everyone he sees and help them to realize their true potential. Speaking at Mind Valley speaks to both of those and to every aspect, actually, because speaking at Mind Valley would put me into a group of people who would immediately become my friends. They would become my extended network, right? We would help each other. That's how Mind Valley works. Even on the community groups on Facebook, I've made some wonderful friends through the few groups that I've been a part of, through masterclasses and courses that I've signed up for. So just think about your life vision and think about how you want your life to unfold, how you want to be seen in the world, right? It's how do you want, it's not so much how you want to be seen in the world, because that can come from a place of ego, so be careful with that. Thought about that as I said it. It's how do you want people to see your true self, right? So you want your true self to shine through, that bright shining diamond we talked about in another video. How do you want to be putting that on display? in the world. So how do you want to be displaying your true self to the world is a better question. And that's indicative of these entire videos, is the fact that none of this is scripted. I'm speaking as I think. And as the words come into my head, they come out. So sometimes I get it spot on, sometimes it's, other times I make the odd hiccup like then. So I'm human. So that's your life vision. So how do you want to be putting your true self, your core identity on display for the world? And how do you want it to be impacting the lives of other people? Now, finally, we come to what a lot of people look at as the most important part, which is financial, work and career. Now, one word in that little collection I would love to get rid of straight away, and that is work. Because when you truly find your true self and you truly identify your passion and you'll know your purpose, and when you do that, nothing feels like work, right? So when you figure it out, when you drill down enough and you identify the outcomes based on how do you want what you do to be impactful to other people. So how do you want to be serving yourself? How do you want to be serving other people, right? What is it that you want to be doing that other people will pay you money for, right? What is it that you can do that gives you pleasure, that would also bring joy to other people that they want to pay you money for? And when you really start playing around with these questions, you could come up with a dozen questions that basically get you to the same place, but the way that you word the question is important for you. Okay, so it has to work for you. And that's a variety of questions that you could ask yourself. So basically, how do you want to be serving the world that you can get paid for? How do you want to be serving other people that you can get paid for? What value do you want to be adding to other people's lives that you can get paid for, right? And then we talk purely financial terms in as much as how do you want to feel about money? Okay, so much has been written about money. So many videos have been made about money and the money mindset and all of that stuff. And that's great. And, some of it's really, really good content. But it comes down to one simple truth, okay? There's a disparity between how you currently think about money and feel about money. And that impacts your level of financial success in the world right now. Okay, so if you're struggling to pay the rent every month, chances are you have either a screwed up money mindset or your feelings about money are holding you back. So what I would invite you to do while you do this exercise, these questions for your desired outcome with regards to money, really touch on that then, really drill down and dig deep to find out. So when you can identify, so ask yourself, what is my current thinking around money? And you'll get after a while, if you ask yourself this question, sit with it for a while, you'll get a list of things. You'll get some things come to mind, which are what you currently think about money. Popular ones are money is the root of all evil, or you have to be an asshole and climb over other people regardless of what it does to them in order to make money, right? Assholes always prosper. Whatever that might be, whatever it might be for you, that's your thinking around money. The follow-up to that, which very few people ever ask, is do I really believe that to be the case? So if you really believe that to be true, then we have some work to do on your money mindset and the way you think and feel about money. And I will be putting another video together for that in detail, but for the sake of coming up with our outcomes and creating outcomes with regards to money, we're talking about the future. We're talking about 3 years. So what I want to ask you to ask yourself now is, how do you want to feel about money? What would be a more positive, life-enhancing set of beliefs to hold about money? Okay, this is not, if you notice, none of this is about what do you want to have. It's not about that. So I said at the beginning, it's an experiential exercise. So it's not about what do you want, it's about how do you want to feel. So it's about how do you want to experience your life? How do you want to experience your relationships? How do you want to experience your body, right? And with regards to money, it's no different. So how do you want to experience making money? How do you want to experience serving people, adding great value in order for them to pay you? And even that's slightly off, because you don't do anything in order to get something. When you just do something purely from service, people will automatically pay you if it's of value. So how do you want to serve other people and make money? Okay, because the two are not mutually exclusive. You can do both. You can serve other people, and the more you serve other people with more value, the greater your rewards will be financially and otherwise. So that's where we're going to end it today, because when you can really drill down with those questions in those areas, so your health and fitness, your intellect and your emotional intelligence, your relationships and love, and your life vision and your finances, if you can concentrate on those subjects, on those topics, and ask yourself those deeper questions with regards to how do you want to experience each one of those things in 3 years, 5 years, 2 years, a year, whatever timeline you want to give it. Ask yourself those questions, and always remember, focus on the experience, not things or stuff, right? So it's how you want to experience the world. It's how you want to experience your relationships. How do you want to experience your life that makes you go, wow? How do you want to experience money? How do you want to experience love, intimate love, physical love? And when you can really drill down, you get a really good sense of the outcomes that you want to create and you want to live. And that will lead us to the next video, which will be about how do we create the objectives that will get you to there. That's it for today. I've been Andy Taylor. This has been This Inspired Life. And please hit the subscribe button. Help us out on the channel. It means the world to me. Give the video a like and let me know what you think in the comments. So until next time, bye for now.